Marcus Chen adjusted his daughter's backpack on his shoulder as they entered the Grand Montclair Hotel lobby. 8-year-old Emma tugged at his hand, her eyes wide with excitement at the marble floors and crystal chandeliers. This weekend getaway was supposed to be special, their first trip since her mother passed away 2 years ago. Marcus had saved for months, wanting to give Emma something beautiful to remember. The lobby buzzed with activity, guests checking in and out, bellhops rushing past with luggage carts. Marcus smiled down at Emma, about to point out the magnificent fountain in the center of the lobby, when a commotion near the entrance caught his attention. A hotel employee in a crisp burgundy uniform stood blocking the doorway, his hand raised in a stopping gesture. Beyond him, Marcus could see a woman in a wheelchair attempting to enter. The woman was elegantly dressed in a navy blazer and pearl necklace, her silver hair styled perfectly, but the employee's face was twisted in disdain, his voice carrying across the lobby with unmistakable hostility. Marcus felt his jaw tighten, recognizing that look, that tone. He'd seen it before, directed at his mother when she'd used a walker after her hip surgery. The same dismissive cruelty that treated people with disabilities as inconveniences rather than human beings. "I'm sorry, ma'am, but we have standards here," the employee said loudly, ensuring everyone in the lobby could hear. "The Grand Montclair caters to a certain clientele. We can't have wheelchairs blocking our hallways and disturbing our guests. Perhaps you'd be more comfortable at one of the budget hotels down the street. They have, shall we say, more appropriate accommodations for people in your condition." The woman's face remained composed, though Marcus noticed her hands gripping the wheelchair's armrests tightly. "I have a reservation," she said calmly, her voice steady despite the humiliation. "Room 412. The name is Catherine Morrison." The employee, whose name tag read Derek Hastings, Assistant Manager, barely glanced at his tablet. "I don't see any reservation under that name, and even if there were, I'm afraid we'd have to cancel it. Our insurance doesn't cover certain liability issues. You understand?" His smirk made it clear he had no intention of checking anything. Marcus felt Emma's hand squeeze his tighter. She whispered, "Daddy, why is that man being mean to the lady?" Other guests had stopped to watch, some whispering behind their hands, others averting their eyes in embarrassment. But no one moved to help. The woman began to back her wheelchair away, her dignity intact but her eyes glistening with unshed tears. Marcus knew that look too, the one his mother wore when she pretended cruel treatment didn't hurt. Something inside Marcus snapped. He'd been silent too many times before, had walked past too many injustices, telling himself it wasn't his business. Not this time. He strode forward, positioning himself between Derek and the woman. "Excuse me," Marcus said, his voice calm but carrying the unmistakable edge of contained fury. "What exactly is the problem here?" Derek looked him up and down with barely concealed contempt. "This doesn't concern you, sir. Please return to check-in." Marcus didn't move. "It concerns me when I see someone being discriminated against in a public establishment. This woman has a reservation. She has every right to be here." Derek's smile turned cold. "As I explained to this lady, we have our policies. The Grand Montclair maintains certain standards." Marcus pulled out his phone. "Really? Because I'm pretty sure the Americans with Disabilities Act has standards too. Would you like me to call the local news? I'm sure they'd love to cover a story about how the Grand Montclair refuses service to disabled guests." A crowd had gathered now, phones out, recording. Derek's confidence wavered, but his arrogance remained. "You're making a scene, sir. Security." 2 security guards approached, but Marcus stood his ground. Emma clutched his leg, frightened but trusting. The woman in the wheelchair spoke softly. "Please, you don't have to do this. I'll just go." Marcus looked down at her, seeing his mother's face, seeing every person who'd ever been made to feel less than human. "No, ma'am, you won't. You have a reservation. You're staying here. And Mr. Hastings here is going to personally ensure you get the best service this hotel can provide." The lobby had fallen silent, all eyes on the confrontation unfolding before them. Derek's face had turned an unpleasant shade of red, his composure cracking under the weight of multiple camera phones pointed in his direction. "Sir, you need to leave immediately, or I'll have you arrested for trespassing and disturbing the peace," Derek threatened, though his voice lacked its earlier confidence. Marcus crossed his arms, planting his feet firmly. "I'm a paying guest with a confirmed reservation. I'm not going anywhere until this woman receives her room key and an apology." One of the security guards, an older man with kind eyes, leaned toward Derek and whispered something urgent. Derek waved him off dismissively. "I don't care who she claims to be. I'm the assistant manager, and I make the decisions about who stays in this hotel." The woman, Catherine Morrison, had been watching Marcus with an expression that mixed gratitude with something else, something that might have been amusement. She reached into her purse and pulled out her phone, pressing a single number. "Yes, it's me," she said quietly into the phone. "I'm in the lobby. There's a situation you need to see." Within moments, the elevator doors opened and a distinguished man in an expensive suit emerged, flanked by two others carrying leather portfolios. The man's face drained of color when he saw Catherine in her wheelchair at the entrance, blocked and humiliated. "Mrs. Morrison," the man breathed, rushing forward. He shot Derek a look of pure horror. "What is going on here?" Derek finally seemed to realize something was wrong. "Mr. Patterson, I was just explaining to this woman that we don't allow—" "Don't allow what?" Catherine interrupted, her voice still calm but now carrying unmistakable authority. "Don't allow the owner of the hotel to enter her own establishment." The lobby erupted in gasps and whispers. Derek's face went from red to white in an instant. Marcus felt his own eyes widen in surprise, looking between Catherine and the man called Mr. Patterson, who appeared to be the general manager. "Owner?" Derek stammered. "But you're in a wheelchair. You can't be—" "Can't be what, Derek?" Catherine's voice had turned to ice. "Can't be a businesswoman? Can't be a hotel owner? Can't be a human being worthy of respect and basic decency?" She wheeled herself forward, and Derek stumbled backward. "I've owned the Grand Montclair for 15 years. I built this hotel from the ground up after selling my tech company. I've been traveling incognito for the past 3 months, visiting each of my 12 properties across the country, experiencing them as a regular guest would." She gestured to her wheelchair. "6 weeks ago, I was in a car accident. My injuries require this wheelchair for now, possibly forever. I decided to continue my inspections to see how my hotels really treat all guests, especially those with disabilities." Patterson looked like he might faint. "Mrs. Morrison, I had no idea you were coming today. If you had known, you would have rolled out the red carpet and hidden all the problems I needed to see," Catherine finished. She turned her wheelchair to face Derek fully. "You, Mr. Hastings, have violated not only federal law but also the core values this hotel was founded upon. You humiliated a guest, refused service based on disability, and created a hostile environment. You're fired, effective immediately. Security, please escort him from the premises." Derek's mouth opened and closed like a fish. "You can't do this. I've worked here for 5 years. I was just following protocols about insurance and—" "There are no such protocols," Patterson interjected, finding his voice. "We are fully ADA compliant. We have accessible rooms, ramps, elevators, everything required and more. You invented those excuses because of your own prejudice." As security led a protesting Derek away, Catherine turned her wheelchair toward Marcus, who stood with Emma still holding his hand. "And you," she said, her stern expression softening into a warm smile. "You stood up when no one else would. You risked your own vacation, possibly your safety, to defend a stranger. What's your name?" Marcus felt suddenly self-conscious. "Marcus Chen, ma'am. This is my daughter, Emma." Emma gave a small wave, her earlier fear replaced with curiosity. Catherine's eyes misted over as she looked at them. "Marcus, Emma, thank you. You have no idea how much your courage meant to me today." Catherine wheeled herself to the main desk, where Patterson and his team scrambled to assist her. She held up a hand, stopping them. "Before we discuss anything else, I want to address the people who witnessed what happened here today." She raised her voice, projecting across the lobby. "To all our guests, I apologize for what you've seen. The behavior you witnessed does not represent the values of the Grand Montclair. We pride ourselves on treating every guest with dignity and respect, regardless of their physical abilities, appearance, or background. Anyone can become disabled at any moment. An accident, an illness, old age. None of us are immune. We must treat others as we hope to be treated ourselves." The crowd murmured in agreement, many nodding. Catherine continued. "To make amends for this incident, every guest currently checked in will receive a 50% discount on their stay and a voucher for a complimentary weekend at any of my properties." The lobby erupted in surprised applause. Catherine then turned back to Marcus. "Mr. Chen, I'd like to speak with you privately if you have a moment. Emma is welcome too, of course." Marcus exchanged glances with Emma, who nodded enthusiastically. They followed Catherine to a luxurious office behind the main desk, Patterson trailing nervously behind. Once inside, Catherine positioned herself behind an impressive mahogany desk and gestured for Marcus and Emma to sit in the plush chairs opposite her. "Tell me about yourself, Marcus," Catherine said, her demeanor now that of a CEO conducting an interview. Marcus felt awkward suddenly, aware of his casual jeans and Emma's cartoon character backpack. "I'm a software engineer at a medical devices company. Emma and I live about 2 hours from here. This weekend was supposed to be a special trip, just the two of us." Catherine nodded thoughtfully. "And Emma's mother?" "She passed away from cancer 2 years ago," Marcus said quietly, squeezing Emma's hand. "It's been just us since then." Catherine's expression filled with compassion. "I'm so sorry. Losing someone you love changes everything, doesn't it? It certainly changes your perspective on what matters." She paused, seeming to make a decision. "Marcus, what you did today showed extraordinary character. You saw injustice and acted even when it was uncomfortable, even when others might judge you for getting involved. That's rare." Marcus shrugged, uncomfortable with the praise. "My mother used a walker for years before she died. I saw how people treated her sometimes, like she was invisible or inconvenient. I swore I'd never be the person who looked away." Catherine smiled. "I'm going to make you an offer, and I want you to seriously consider it. I need someone to head up a new initiative across all my properties. Someone to ensure accessibility and inclusive practices are not just legal requirements, but genuine priorities. Someone who understands why this matters, not just intellectually, but personally." Marcus stared at her, stunned. "You're offering me a job? But you just met me. You don't know anything about my qualifications." Catherine leaned back in her wheelchair, her fingers steepled. "I know the most important qualification. You have integrity and courage. The rest can be learned or supported by hiring the right team. You'd work remotely mostly, traveling to inspect properties, developing training programs, ensuring we lead the industry in accessible hospitality. The salary would be double what you make now, with full benefits, travel expenses, and flexible hours so you can be there for Emma." Marcus felt dizzy with the possibility. "Mrs. Morrison, I don't know what to say. This is incredibly generous, but you're wondering if it's real," Catherine finished. "I understand. Take the weekend. Enjoy your stay here, completely complimentary in our best suite. Think about the offer. Talk it over with Emma. If you decide you're interested, we'll arrange a formal interview process, meet the team, discuss details. She pulled a business card from her desk and handed it to Marcus. My personal number is on there. Call me Monday morning with your answer. Emma tugged Marcus's sleeve and whispered loud enough for everyone to hear. Daddy, I think you should say yes. Then you could help other people like you helped the nice lady. Catherine laughed, a genuine joyful sound. Smart girl. Marcus, your daughter has good instincts. Patterson cleared his throat. Mrs. Morrison, I've arranged for the Chen family to be moved to the presidential suite, and I've had a full itinerary of local family activities prepared for their consideration. All complimentary, of course. As they stood to leave, Catherine called out, Marcus, one more thing. What you taught Emma today about standing up for others, about seeing people's humanity beyond their circumstances, that's worth more than any lesson school could teach. You're a good father. Marcus felt tears prick his eyes. Thank you, Mrs. Morrison, for everything. That evening, as Marcus and Emma explored their incredible suite with its view of the city skyline, Emma asked, Are you going to take the job, Daddy? Marcus looked at his daughter, thinking about the man he wanted to be, the example he wanted to set. He thought about his late wife, who always said their purpose in life was to leave the world better than they found it. He thought about his mother and Catherine Morrison and every person who deserved dignity but didn't always receive it. Yes, sweetheart, he said, pulling Emma into a hug. I think I am. Outside the window, the city lights sparkled like possibilities, like second chances, like hope. And in that moment, Marcus understood that sometimes defending a stranger isn't just about helping them. Sometimes it's about becoming the person you were always meant to be. The person who doesn't look away, who doesn't stay silent, who chooses courage over comfort. The next morning, Marcus didn't wait until Monday. He called Catherine's number and accepted the position. 6 months later, the Grand Montclair chain became the first hospitality company to receive the National Accessibility Excellence Award, with Marcus Chen leading the initiative that would transform not just 12 hotels, but eventually inspire an entire industry to see accessibility not as a legal obligation, but as a moral imperative and a competitive advantage. And it all started because one single father refused to let injustice happen on his watch, defending a stranger who turned out to be exactly the person who could help him transform his life and the lives of countless others. Emma kept the newspaper clipping from that day, the one with the headline, Hotel Owner Goes Undercover, Exposes Discrimination. She'd take it to school for show and tell, telling everyone about the day her daddy became a hero, not knowing that the real heroism wasn't in one moment of standing up, but in choosing, every single day after, to keep standing for what was right.